Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back to Truthseekers. Tonight, we're going to be exploring a topic that I have kind of avoided, and that is the topic of alien abductions. I've always been fascinated by this topic because it appears that it is a worldwide phenomenon that crosses ethnicities, races, religions, geographies, and there are recorded so-called abduction events throughout history, which we can look into. My guests tonight, Jamie and Brianna, have a podcast that I have been enjoying lately. Sometimes I take a comedic look at these things, and I fully support that because I do as well. And their podcast is called That One Time I Got Abducted by Aliens. There is a YouTube channel and a website. The links are in the description. I'd like to invite you to come and sample their work, because if you just want to have a good time and talk about strange topics, cryptid creatures, aliens, alien abductions, all matter of strangeness, really, it is a fun ride for them. So let's bring in our guests. Here we have Jamie, and the other part of the team, Brianna, is here.
Hello.
I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm glad that you guys are here.
Yes,
I'm super excited.
we have, and we've been hanging out lately on Sundays. Cambian's been showing up too. We host a little thing where it's like a stoner chess on Sundays. It's not anywhere. You just got to be there to be part of it. So we've been kind of hanging out with Cambian behind the scenes lately. So it's nice to finally be on camera with you.
Yeah, I like those laid back sort of panel things where you just go and have a good time. It's like how I blow off steam from doing the more serious stuff. And you guys do a great job of just everybody has a good time. Lately, they've been talking about butt stuff, though. So maybe we'll get into anal probes and butt stuff.
Absolutely.
Right? Why are aliens so interested in people's butts? I don't know.
Isn't that just it's a topic of question.
Fun hole.
It's a fun hole. Exactly.
It's a real rabbit hole.
Lee Guy just sent a kind and generous $4.99 super chat, and he says, "Strippers for my
Hey,
birthday."
Lee.
They're
Nice.
dancers. They're not strippers, okay? And I got in trouble.
As that whole
have
thing was
to
playing, I
sing
was like
intro.
dancing. I was like, that's a whole vibe. I love that.
Yeah, I love your intro.
And I got in trouble because I mentioned on a previous broadcast that I'm a Christian, and somebody said, "How could you be a Christian and have strippers in your intro?" And I said, "They're not strippers. They're Christian dancer girls.
They're dancers.
And
Yeah.
it's okay.
Jesus.
It's okay." Thank you, Lee Guy,
Exactly.
for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. Anybody wants to throw some money at me, we love it. So
Absolutely.
I've heard you guys talk about all different topics, and I was pissed because what's the Thanksgiving cryptid? I was going to do a show on that, and then I saw you guys did, and I said, forget it. They already covered it.
Hey,
Everybody's
you know what?
watching. Yeah.
There's not that much to it anyway. You
There really
probably
Like
wasn't.
a turkey squatch or something. What is it called?
Gobble
It's-
squatch.
Gobble
it's-
squatch.
Yes, it's the pet of Bigfoot, and it is coming to angrily get mad at people killing other turkeys.
Revenge of the turkey killers.
Mhm.
Oh God, I love it. And then you had the other. What was the other one for that show?
Puckwudgie.
Puckwudgie. That is a cool one. I
Yes.
never heard of that one, so I had to look that one up. But you guys talk about some.
It's
Really
interesting how
stuff.
many cryptids are out there. We kind of started just talking about cryptids, and then the more and more we digged into it, we realized how big the cryptid rabbit hole is. It's very reminiscent of like the UFO rabbit hole that you go down. You go down thinking it's one thing, and then you start to dig and realize, oh my God, this is like a lot more layers, and there's so much more information out there that a lot of people don't know about the topic.
Yeah,
It's a
I
fun-
love
it's a fun thing to do.
Bigfoot and all the variants. So I've done shows on Bigfoot. We did the Hairy Man of Alaska. That's a scary one because it's a 15-foot tall Bigfoot that likes to rip people apart and is very aggressive
shit.
and nasty.
Ooh.
And what is it? Orang Pendek. We did a show on that and some other stuff. Look, Rich, leave it to Rich to come with.
Yeah,
He's all serious. Rich from
Yes.
Goofon says, aliens go to the butthole because that's the place that shows everything we eat and digest. It shows everything.
Exactly.
Really.
I couldn't agree with that more. That's absolutely 100% Rich. And also, hi, Rich.
We gotta
Yeah.
investigate. Easiest way to investigate.
So I've heard you
Nasty.
guys cover all of these subjects, but your podcast is called That One Time I Was Abducted by Aliens. And I don't get too serious here, but are you guys both experiencers in one form or another?
Absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
Can I, if it's not too personal, can I hear a little bit about each of your
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to go first, Bri, or you want me to?
I'll go first.
Go for
Jamie and I have very different types of experiences.
Mhm.
Although I will say over time, maybe not so different. I will tell you the first experience that kind of led me into just exploring more about my past and things that had happened. I had no interest in the subject. I don't even think I thought about aliens, to be quite honest. I lived a completely different life back then. Not even into fringe topics like ghosts, anything like that. And I was hanging out in my room one day and I was laying in bed watching a movie. And then all of a sudden I went completely paralyzed. And it wasn't like a sleep paralysis where I drifted off into sleep and then woke up and then couldn't move. It was like I was wide awake. And then all of a sudden I was totally paralyzed. And the only thing, it was scary. The only thing I kept thinking over and over and again in my head, almost like a tape recorder, was just over and over and over. I just kept saying, oh my God, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming, they're here, they're here. And then it was a strange instant knowing that whoever they were a thing, and that they had always come for me, and that I had done that many times. It was like an instant knowing. And then I don't remember anything else other than waking up after, like snapping out of it. And I was really upset at the time because it was like, what the fuck was that? And I couldn't really remember anything after that. It was just, they're here, they're coming. And then, oh my God, they've always been coming for me. So then that led me into what was that? And then I started to really research alien abductions, and I started to see a lot of similarities. And then it wasn't later on, a lot of it in the podcast, actually, as we started to talk about things, that then I started to get a lot of weird memories back. Memories of, like, as a child, waking up, banging outside the door because I was locked outside in the middle of the night. Like, the door is locked, and my parents having to let me back inside the house. It wasn't like I was just sleepwalking and walked outside, because then the door would have been unlocked. It was like I somehow was able to lock the door behind me, and it was like it was a deadbolt at our old house.
Wow. And do you have any conscious recollection of the beings themselves and what, like what they look like or what they wanted?
No, and not at all. And the only thing that I've ever seen has been in dreams. Because it was shortly after that first paralyzing experience that immediately after I started having dreams. It was like every single night. I started to see craft in my dreams. I started to see little beings in my dreams, tall beings. And then there was like a weird remembrance of some type of connection between them. So nothing in my waking life where I've ever seen an actual being. Everything's been kind of like in a weird dream realm where I seem to get information from and then actually can see different beings.
Well, I can imagine how that would get you obsessed with the topic. And what about you, Jamie?
Completely obsessed. Whew.
And what about you, Jamie? And isn't it funny how you two hooked up having had these crazy experiences? That's cool.
Well, and that's also a big part of our experiences too. So my experience is completely different from Bree's. It's almost the opposite, where I've had more what I would consider physical, like on Earth experiences. So at the time, I was about 18, 19 years old, somewhere around there. And I was living in Oakland, California at the time. I spent a weekend down in my hometown with Bree, and I was driving home. It was very late at night. I was with my boyfriend at the time. I was in the passenger seat. And just as we were getting into the East Bay area, I noticed like a weird kind of light off in the distance next to us as we were driving. And the more and more I looked at it, the more I realized it wasn't a light, it was a craft. And it was flying really like low above like houses and stuff. It was too low to be a plane, and it was too low to be a helicopter. It didn't look like a helicopter and make sounds. And so I was really intrigued by what it was. And I was just watching it for a long time. It was kind of going along with us on the car. And we started to get off the freeway, and it kind of moved and went up and went towards the city of Oakland. And I watched it fly and like land on top of this building. And I was like, I can see that building from my house.
That's bizarre. Yeah.
So it's like I can see this from my house. I know exactly where this building is. If you know the Oakland skyline, there's not a lot of tall buildings. And so I went home, ran upstairs to my, up my stairs, went there, plopped right in the window, and I could see this craft sitting on top of this building. And the light on top of it is what really made me think, like, what the hell could this be? And I'm talking like this is like early 2000s, maybe like 2007, 2008 kind of time. And it was a light, and the single light changed from green to red to blue to orange. And it was like almost pulsating all of these different colors. And
that's not something a plane does, or
exactly. And so my immediate mind thought is, oh my God, I don't really know. Like, there's no plane or airplane or anything in the world. LED lights weren't even really a big thing back then. So having a light do that was like super off. So I stared at that for a really long time. I have no idea how long I looked at it for, but eventually what happened was I saw a red light kind of come in through my window. And it almost looked like a laser pointer. And I initially kind of looked down to try to see if I could find someone with a laser pointer, but it's like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody out in the streets in Oakland, and nobody sure as shit has a goddamn laser pointer. And I realized that the laser pointer is coming from where that building and where that craft is. It's coming straight across. It's not coming from up or down or sideways or something. And once I realized that's where it's coming from, it seems to start to scan the room, almost like going from like the one edge to the wall to the other edge to the wall, almost like it was trying to figure out what was inside the room. And at the time, I had a friend named Rafa, and I called him, and I was like, hey, this really weird thing is happening. I think that this is a freaking alien. Like, this is what's happening. I was really scared. And I think he thought I was joking. So he told me at the time to get water and lock myself in a closet because aliens can't open doors and they're afraid of water. And if you know anything, well, it's literally the plot of the movie Signs.
Oh, yeah.
So again, so I take this very seriously. I grab a bottle of water. I, at the time, smoked cigarettes, grabbed my cigarettes ashtray, went inside the closet, locked myself in it. I remember like smoking a few cigarettes, and then I don't remember anything. I wake up the next morning in bed, tucked into bed like I had tucked myself in. It was really weird, and I had no recollection.
So you have some missing time then, which is a common occurrence.
Exactly. And so at that moment, I had no idea what had happened. I just had woken up. I knew for a fact that I did not put myself in bed, and I woke up in bed, and I knew immediately that something was wrong, but I had no memory or recollection of anything like that. And a few maybe days or weeks later, I kind of told Bree in passing, I was like, hey, I think I saw this UFO and had this weird experience. And she literally goes, okay, that's cool. That's nice. And then
like it was no big deal.
Like it was no big deal. Well, what was interesting is a few weeks later is when she had her experience. And so we had our experiences really close to each other, but we never after that time talked about it ever again until like 10 years later.
Yeah, there was 7 years had gone by.
Yeah, we didn't look up UFOs. We never talked about UFOs like with each other. Like we zero interest. I moved to a different state. We lost contact for a long time. And then we got back together, and then we would be hanging out, and on Friday nights was kind of like our time to hang out. And Bree started watching Ancient Aliens, and she was like, hey, you want to come over and watch Ancient Aliens with me? And I was like, oh yeah, actually I'm kind of into that stuff. Yeah, sure. Let's watch it. And then it just kind of started from there. The more and more we talked about it, we would, get a little wine drunk, smoke a little marijuana. And then eventually we were like, hey, we've both had experiences. And then we started talking about how we had these experiences about this same time, and we never talked about it. So it really started the two of us really deep diving into this subject, and really it was just trying to figure out our own stories and what it is that had happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that situation. I started down this rabbit hole because I saw a flying saucer when I was 10 years old in the woods, and I got obsessed. And I wish to God I would have had a friend that I could have talked to about it, because I never told anybody about it until I did my first audio podcast on UFOs. And, 20 years later, I didn't have anybody to talk to, nobody that could help me understand the experience. So it was good that you guys had each other to lean on, because this is like, wasn't it traumatic for both of you to have these things happen? Didn't you like?
For sure. Especially because, man, that's hard to say, actually. We see UFOs a lot together. I think like for me, it switched over to just seeing UFOs all the time.
Yeah,
So
I
it
don't
was like
I don't have any
a
like
process
conscious
of remembering.
Yeah,
And
I don't have any
then,
conscious experiences with beings like in my day-to-day life. Like I'm not fucking calling in aliens and having conversations with them daily. I see a lot of UFOs, especially when I'm with Bree. It seems to happen when the two of us are together. But my big experiences, a lot of it I don't remember, nor can I say, do I really want to remember? A lot of people say, do past life regression or this or that. I'm good with knowing what I know. The universe will tell me what I need to know.
Yeah.
And
I'm a little bit suspect of hypnotic regression and past life regressions.
Yeah, I'm personally just not into it. Not my cup of tea. For other
I
people, I'm
wanted
sure it
to,
works.
I considered doing a hypnotic regression of my experience to see if I could get more details, but I decided that I don't want to mess with my memories. My memory, I remember what I remembered. I remember it pretty clearly, pretty distinctly. I didn't have any missing time or anything like that. Whole experience took, minutes and it was over. And I'm afraid that somebody, yeah, I know. And I'm afraid that somebody's going to get in there and implant things that weren't part of the original experience and ruin the experience that I did have for me somehow. So I just,
no, then that's understandable.
I had Barbara Lamb actually offered to do it for me for free when I interviewed her and got to know her a little bit. And she said,
I would trust her.
You might, she said you might find it really therapeutic and this and that. But I was just worried that my experience has been what it was. I remember it a certain way forever. And I'm afraid that I'm going to come out of that seeing aliens or going up to the ship that never happened.
Yeah,
or,
you never
because
know.
I've seen people do this. They saw a UFO. Next thing they know, the hypnotic regressor is guiding them through it, and they've got missing time. And then, now I remember I was on the ship when I never remembered that before. So I said, I'm just going to leave my memory intact, right? I'm sure it could be a good tool. I'm sure it could be a good tool for some people.
Oh, and that's what I mean. I'm sure that it works for some people and it could be beneficial to a lot of people. Me personally, like I'm good with what I know. I don't want to know about the weird stuff that happened.
I'm half and half. I feel like if the opportunity presents itself, I would, but just because I have a lot of, I feel like blocks in my memory. Like there's a few things that I remember, and then it's just like blackness, and so part of me wants to know.
That's got to bug you, right? It's got to bug you.
Yeah,
like, what's behind that black wall?
Yeah,
exactly. And there's a lot of instances like that, especially the more we started talking about things. I was like, oh shit, that was a memory unlock, and then it's like, but what else happened? So I'm half and half about it. But if it comes my way, if Barbara Lamb offered herself,
I will get her to do it. I will call her and see if she will do it for you. If you want to do it,
I feel like it has to seek me.
So the one thing I'll say is, Barbara Lamb and I disagree on many, many things. I interviewed her about her book, Meet the Hybrids, and I offered to do genetic testing of all the hybrids in her book, and none of them would agree to genetic testing at all. So that was suspect to me. But what I will say about her is that she is a very, very well-educated woman. She's not just some nutter that said, I'm a hypnotic regressionist. She's very, very, she's got degrees in psychology, and I think she's got a master's in something else. Like, she's very well-educated. And at least as far as the regressions, I've talked to 3 or 4 people that she's done them for that found it to be tremendously helpful to them. So I decided, like, who am I to say, to talk, negatively about that with her, because I know people that they did it and they found it helpful, right?
Yeah, it's that whole thing is really kind of murky if you think about it. You never really know. Is it real memory? Is it kind of, did it, she leads you there and your mind kind of puts pieces together? All of it is like,
there's
you really
so
can't
much
know one way or the other.
Yeah, there's so much that the mind is capable of that we don't understand, especially when we're talking about like memories and things like that. We only use a very small percentage of our brain. So when you go
10%.
in there, when you go in there and start messing around with things, at the end of the day, we don't really know the ramifications of any of those things.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, I for a time was very interested in hypnosis, and it's actually been proven. There's an English mentalist and hypnotist, and they did a whole study on, like, this guy hypnotized people. They gave them a gun with blanks and told them to go kill people to see if they would, and they did.
Holy shit.
Yeah, some of that stuff is scary. You don't know what the mind is capable of while in that hypnotic state. There's
100%.
it's a big mystery. That's why I said I'm staying away from that. I'll stick with
same, and I'm the same way, exactly.
Conscious memory and like. Do you guys ever do some sort of a comparison to see when you've had these experiences if there's a common denominator or causal effect, maybe, or like if there's like it happens on certain days or you know lunar cycles? I don't know. I
was
would
like the one thing I will say when it comes to the phenomenon with me and Bree specifically, it happens a lot when we're together, especially when we're around other people too. Like we're very much, I feel like, a little bit of a beacon sometimes. And so I don't know if it's necessarily a certain day or something like that, but I know that the two of us together, I think because we're super, super open, it makes people around us be a little bit more open. So they have more experiences. And I know that because we're so open, we have our own experiences together a lot.
Yeah, like other people in our lives that have never seen a UFO tend to have their first experience or see something when they're with us. Or
you guys gotta come. I gotta come hang out with you guys.
100%, please.
See some
but
things.
you know, it's really. I would never feel comfortable saying, "Oh, that's because like we bring UFOs." It's not. Like that.
No.
I think
it's not like that.
I think it's more that we took. And especially when we're together, we take the time to be outside and to actually night watch and to know the difference between different planes and, you know, satellites and things like that. So I think it's just taking the time to go out and look.
Yeah, most people don't. You know, who's going to
spend?
Yeah, I've been doing at my cabin. There is it's the highest elevation in the state of Pennsylvania, and the stars are amazing. First of all, you're going to see all kinds of shooting stars, and that's pleasant. So even if I don't see UFOs. Right. I could sit out there for a few hours and just watch the skies. But I was thinking that myself recently, like how many people will just take the time to spend 2 hours looking up at the stars in the sky to see what's up there? Mm-hmm. Well, up there, it's such a high elevation that we see all kinds of stuff. So I have to have a satellite map nearby because it turns out a lot of the things that I'm seeing are satellites because we're so high up in elevation that you see. And plus, there's no light pollution. So you can see the Milky Way on some nights if it's clear.
Beautiful.
You know?
And one thing that's important too when people are night watching is like to use tools or resources that are available to you. Like one thing that I have is like a star map on my phone that tracks satellites and things like that. Yeah, I use
something called Stellarium.
Yeah, and so as long as people are using those, it's not like we're just going out there and looking at the sky and saying that anything that moves is a UFO.
I've been with people that do that, and it was annoying.
Yeah,
it's like it's a light in the sky. Calm down. We don't know what it is. Let's take a step back. Make sure it's not a satellite first. Make sure it's not a plane, right? And even with binoculars, usually you can tell. That's how I usually do it with binoculars, or even a cheap telescope. You can zoom in and go, okay, I see FAA compliant lights. That's either a helicopter or it's an airplane. I don't care about that. Move on to the next thing that, you know.
Yep, exactly. And that's really what it's about. It's just about, and you have to sit out there for literally hours. And like a lot of times people don't know that one of the best times to see UFOs is before the sun is rising because of the way the sun is sitting and the angle it has towards the sky. And you get the reflection a lot better. A lot of people think you just go out there when it's dark and it's night. But if you talk to a lot of people who go to night watches, it's literally like early morning hours that you're out there looking for these UFOs. Yeah. And not a lot of people are up during that time out there just looking at the sky.
I think I could do it because sometimes I drink till 5 a.m. at the cabin, so I'll just have to.
Love it. I want to come to the cabin. Invite us to the cabin.
I was like, let's have a UFO retreat at the cabin. Yes.
Everybody was joking, and we were before the current health crisis hit. Everybody was joking, and I got like the cabin. There's enough land next to the cabin that's kind of woodsy that I can make some. We were going to do something called Contact in the Mountains and make it free, and whoever wants to come can come. I've got a bunch of tents, and we'll find a place for you.
Let's go. I'm in.
Know?
That's freaking awesome.
And we had Stan Gordon on my show, and he gave me a map. There's all kinds of Bigfoot sightings, all within 20 miles of the cabin, 25 miles of the cabin, because it's in the Pennsylvania mountains. And there's Indian places and burial grounds and weird stuff all around the cabin. So we're going to start something called Truthseekers Road Trips, and I'm going to start doing.
Oh yes,
that's amazing.
And we're in. And I just got some drones because what I thought would be fun is if I know there's Bigfoot sightings in the area, I'm just going to fly drones all over the place and get footage and see if we see anything. Yeah,
that's cool.
So Bree's actually been Bigfoot hunting before.
What was that like, Bree?
It was really hard for me.
Yeah, you're not a camper kind of girl. You don't look.
No, I love
Bree
camping.
looks like
fine.
she's high maintenance. She looks like
she's a little bougie.
She would not be good without a shower and
but she loves camping. She is bougie, but she loves camping.
She needs a glamping, right?
It's so different. No, actually,
not even.
You know what? My husband's more about the glamp. I'm not. I'm down to just sleep in the tent with, I love camping, period. I just love it. I love everything about it.
Me too. Me and my wife started with tents and all, but then after the kids and all, you just say, forget it. I'm building a cabin and we're going to be comfortable.
That's nice. No, it was just hard for me because I was with a lot of people that seriously do this. It was, we had like all kinds of people. And some of them were actually on finding Bigfoot. It was just a huge group. It's almost like a chapter, and they have a area that they go to that they don't give out their location. So you have to like follow written directions with zero service for like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what it is near the cabin.
My husband almost got lost at one point. There's just like coyotes, wolves. I mean, like left and right, just one way. I thought we were going to just die out there.
Oh, no.
Before we found the campsite. And then I just felt like they were very excited. They were so excited to find Bigfoot that I felt like they were
embellishing
easily, like they were, they would just like jump to anything, like,
I heard a knock
in the wood. It's like, it's a knock. Everything was a knock. Everything was a knock. You hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear? Like, they were just so desperate, I think, to believe that he was there, that I was just very kind of on the outside, like, no, just a bit skeptical. I was the one skeptical person out of the whole group of like
Alien
25
Girl,
people.
111 is here. So
hey, Amy, gorgeous lady.
Hey, girl.
And I'm sorry that I made a comment that somebody didn't like in your live chat. It was a joke. I apologize for my crude and rude remarks about somebody wanting to get their hole drilled. I apologize. I own up to my mistakes. I will not talk about women wanting to get their hole drilled in your live chat again.
You know what? Some women want to get their hole drilled, and we should just
we should just accept it. Jesus, I know.
We're just way too sensitive in this world.
So sensitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do some butt stuff.
So I wanted to also ask, because of your personal experiences, like, what do you think about the prevailing theories out there? Like, some people think that the abduction experience has something to do with reproduction. They're trying to, make alien hybrids. And some people think that it is all a mental or consciousness experience and not so physical. And I mean, there's all these different theories. One thing that gives me pause is when somebody tells you, this is what the abduction phenomenon is all about, and they say they have the answers. I'm a little suspect to that. But what do you guys think about these theories?
It's
and
all
you think it's related to your experience?
All the above. It's all of the above.
above.
That's the thing, though. There's not a pinpoint. There's not what we can pinpoint on it. And if you think about just like mathematically the possibilities that are out there of what aliens could be and what they're trying to achieve by coming here and fucking with us, we probably have never even said the answer because that's how many possibilities they are, right?
Yeah, so like interdimensional, intergalactic,
so who are we to put it in? Yeah, who are we to put it in some type of box and say that why can't all of it be happening? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but also just to think of there's just the aliens. Like there's just one other extraterrestrial type when I mean, all the planets out there, God, there could be thousands and thousands of different civilizations that are also living the way that we are. So how
I always say if there's no aliens, what a tremendous waste of space it would be if there's no aliens.
Genuinely.
Yeah, so they don't all have the same goal.
I think it's a law of averages.
The same thing.
I think it's a law of averages. And I did something with computer science to go, like, let's do a procedural generated world. And on some of the planets, just by chance, the signs for life would all the ingredients necessary for life would happen by chance. And it may only happen, like in one solar system, and then the next 25 solar systems have no life because by chance the odds, the dice roll didn't work out. So I think there has to be. John Paul Fardier with kind and generous $20
Thank you,
donation.
love.
Hey, Steve, keep up the great work you're doing. Hey, Brianna and Jamie, I enjoy your channel. Lots of fun. Yes. And their channel link is in the about section. So everybody go over there and give them a bump. They got to get to the magic numbers.
We got lots of shows going on there.
A lot of people are mentioning in the chat, and I think that that's also valid. We do
have
DMT.
So people are actually making fun of DMT. They're saying DMT elves are definitely some sort of entities. Things like so. But I highly recommend everybody, before you continue, Brie, I just want to get this out. I highly recommend everyone who look up Andrew Gallimore, who wrote a book about DMT and contact modalities when it comes to extraterrestrials. Go read that before you make any comments about DMT and extraterrestrials. Just go read it before it'll completely change your mind about what's going on when it comes to DMT and extraterrestrials. Go ahead, Brie.
I just was going to say that I think we really have to open up our minds to all the different possibilities. And, we have no idea what life even is. So how can we just assume that aliens are one thing and that they can't be other things? And so I think for me, it's the same thing when people say they know what it is. I get the exact same feeling when people say that what it isn't. Because you have absolutely no idea. This universe is huge. Who knows if we're only in one? We could be in a multiverse. There could be parallel timelines. We have no idea. So we have to stop trying to put this phenomenon in a box. That's why it's a phenomenon. Because we have no fucking idea. It's all over the place.
But DMT is interesting in that and so many people that do a DMT experience have similar experiences. But I think, again, that could be chance. I don't know. I saw a purple being, but I like Anjali did. And that's why when I heard her story, I'm like, she got dosed or something, because so many people report seeing a purple being. In my case, I didn't think that it was aliens. I thought it was interdimensional. I thought that the veils of perception just got pulled away and that I could see across dimensions or something. And
it's interesting that you say that, though, because I think that's what Bree's talking about too, is like when people say alien, you think about alien from space. But when I think about alien, I also think about interdimensional beings and extra dimensional beings, right? Like, I don't think aliens necessarily have to come from space per se. I think that an alien to me, I would consider not a human. That is an alien. It's not human.
It's not terrestrial. It's everything. It's an ultra-dimensional or interdimensional. So they're all over the place. And I also think that's why there's different types of contact experiences, because we could be dealing with something physical that's on the same place with us. We could be dealing with something that's just consciousness, because maybe it has to do with all different types of dimensions. So there's other beings that can come in and out of that. And so I think we really have to just I think we just need to create more space for possibilities and consider that we're not just talking about one thing, we're talking about many things. And that's half of the fun. It's like, we'll never get to the bottom of it, but it's just fun to even consider all the different possibilities and the different types of contacts that are happening.
Yeah, and somebody in the live chat was, somebody in the Facebook live was asking, what is DMT? It's dimethyltryptamine. It is a hallucinogen, but it's also naturally occurring in our body.
Yep.
It's interesting that some people, 75 or 78% of people who have a heart attack also have a DMT experience. Near-death experiences have been attributed to DMT, and it's been called the soul molecule, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's in not just humans, but it's in most organic material, most plants, animals. So it's already in our bodies. And so there's a part of me that wonders if that's also for a reason. I don't really believe in coincidences that much.
It's the same thing about having THC receptors inside of your body, right? So there's only two ways that we could have had THC receptors. Number one, we as a species were born with them, or number two, we evolved over time to having THC receptors, which means at the end of the day, we as a people have always been using cannabis. It's always been a part of our life.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Or there's that stoned ape theory that maybe we started evolving because we started eating mushrooms and our brains started getting bigger and we started figuring things out during these hallucinogenic trips, things like wheels. And I don't know, it can be a creative, drugs can certainly be a creative helper,
Absolutely. Anything that opens up your mind to other possibilities, I think, has value.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So what about these? I noticed that you guys talked to Grant Cameron recently. He's still on my list of people that I like. There's very few left. Because I interviewed him before a couple times, and I'm very interested in the fact that he was all about nuts and bolts.
And then switched to consciousness kind of it.
to all consciousness and experiencers, and every person that has an experience he wants to talk to and hear about the experience. He believes that a lot of this, including the craft, may be conscious related. And recently we have this news that there are some people that have some part of their brain that may make them more receptive to seeing these things. What do you guys think of this stuff?
Well,
I love Grant Cameron.
We love Grant Cameron. And one of the big things that drawed us towards Grant Cameron is the same thing as you. He went from this very nuts and bolts over to this very consciousness side. And that's kind of been my personal journey as well over the years that I've been investigating this. I started off very like government documents. I want to talk about the old stories and things. And then over time, I evolved what it is I talk about in this subject. And Grant is one of those people who did that switch, and it hits home for me because I recognize so much of what he has. It's just, you keep researching for so long that you just get to a point where you realize it's so much bigger than just what you're looking at on your computer, you know?
Yeah, I reached that point. And there was a time when I wouldn't have talked to any experiencer. I would say, well, because I guess experiencers kind of let me down, or, you know, I want like you said, the nuts and bolts stuff. I want, like, you know,
proof and evidence and documentation of what it is,
and, you know, something that I can scientifically check. And with many experiencers, they just have the experience and they can't offer much more.
Well, if you're just nuts and bolts, that means you always need something that has a physical trace, right? You always need that tangible proof. But a lot of this phenomena is not. It's not tangible. It is not. It's not physical in the matter that we expect, and that I think we need a lot of the time to believe in something. So it's challenging for people that don't think like that, because it's just totally out of their realm. That I think there's so much hesitance to even dip your toe in that, because there's no proof. And if there's no proof, then you're like, how can I believe it? You know?
Yeah, but to me, there's got to be some value in this, because so many people are having similar experiences. So even if it's not a physical real experience I could prove, I want to know why people all over the world are having these experiences. I just
let me ask you a question, Cami, and then so you know, you had your experience, and are you someone who entertains the idea that aliens are real?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay, right. So, but what you have, that you believe that because you had your experience, right?
No, I think I would believe that even if not.
Regardless?
Because just from a scientific standpoint, all the exoplanets that are being discovered, there's got to be some other intelligent life. And then sometimes I think that we might be missing things. Like, how do we know that octopuses aren't smarter than us? Some people believe that whales and porpoises are smarter than us.
So are
dolphins.
Just didn't develop.
Yeah, dolphins.
Have you ever seen an octopus open a jar? That shit's batshit crazy.
Yes, I saw a video of that. It's great.
Did you guys watch that? It's like My Teacher or something like that on Netflix.
My Octopus Teacher.
My Octopus Teacher. No, I heard it was sad, so I didn't want to watch it. Yeah,
I cried so much, but it was like, wow, there's an interaction there. There's fucking smarts. They are so smart. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, so for all we know, we have intelligent life right here. We just don't know how to communicate with them, because especially octopuses, I think they communicate with like colors and ink and stuff. It's like a weird, it's so strange. Yeah.
We as humans have this defect in us, I feel like, where we just think we know everything and we're just as smart as it gets. And it's just pure ignorance.
So much ignorance.
It's fucking crazy. And Grant Cameron's book, Contact Modalities, is so good. And he really breaks it down scientifically, the different parts in your brain and what they're responsible for. And I think if anyone's interested in even dipping their toe on the consciousness side, that's the book to read, because
I haven't read that one.
He takes you from the science to that.
And I have that book, but I got a shelf of books I never read, because I'm always like, you know what I think when I buy a book, what I'm really buying is the thought that I'm going to have the time to read it.
Yes, you know I do that too.
You know, I'll buy this book and I'll put it on the shelf, and some night I'll
take it off and read it. Yep.
I'll start the fireplace. I got a nice chair here and a reading lamp, and I'll have a nice time to read this book, and then I just don't get to some of them.
I do worse sometimes. I'll read a whole book except like the last few chapters. or like I'll read halfway and then just assume that I know the book, and then put it down and then start a new book. So it's like it's typical ADD. It's like I'm buying another book before I'm finishing the first book, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll get back to it.
I've definitely got ADD. I've had it all my life, and
so do I.
I'm an expert at getting many things 90% finished.
Same,
right?
100%. Yep.
And then I start something new before I get that other 10% done. But eventually I focus enough that I come back to the things, and then it makes me look like a super genius sometimes, because then it's like, how the hell did this guy make like,
500 things at once? Exactly.
I made a 7-hour-long concept music album, and I just pecked away at it for a few years, and then eventually, and it was 90% done for months and months and months, and eventually
it's amazing.
I'm going to sit here and finish it. Everybody's like, God damn, this guy's a genius. No, I just, I didn't finish it for years, and then I finally got to it. Yeah, it's a shame,
I want to answer Randall's question here.
I did too. We're going to say the same thing.
Okay, go for it, Brie. I'll let you take it then.
You go.
Which is the question? Oh, Randall.
Yeah. No, I'll let you take it, Brie. You're on a roll. Go for it.
Is it the question or is it the next one?
Yeah,
that's
one.
it.
Okay.
So Jamie and I have both come to this conclusion that for sure, whatever you believe in, you give the most power to. So I think a lot of things happen literally just because we solely believe that something else has the power over that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in a lot of these instances, people are jumping to conclusions that all of these alien experiences and whatnot are all demonic.
Demons.
Because when they say something like, in the name of Jesus, be gone or whatever, and it goes away, they're just thinking that it was literally Jesus. But I guarantee you, if you also believed in something
Buddha
yeah. Who knows? Candles, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that you 100% believe in that higher power. You gave that power.
Mm-hmm. It's not about the words that you use. It's about the meaning and the power behind what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I grew up with a very religious father who he thought that aliens were demons and trickster spirits and things like that. They're not from other planets. That's from the devil. And like, he would get pissed off if we had like, alien stuff or books or, like, it's kind of crazy, but he was that religious, and he was convinced that the whole thing was trickster demon spirits that were trying to trick us into believing that they were from outer space. And I always wanted to say, like, for what reason would they do that? But whatever, everybody's got their own beliefs, and, Catholic brainwashing will do that to you, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I can understand where they're coming from, because they've stuck to a certain
belief system.
It's a complete belief system. You've convinced yourself of that, and then also just to block out anything else that doesn't exist in that box. And it's just automatically, if it's not in that box, no, it's not that. And I think that more and more people are starting to break out of those boxes and are still keeping their faith, but then also realizing that there is room for more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very profound.
That's a hard step to take for a lot of people.
Well, I think for a long time,
more.
Spirituality and religion had a cap, I think, on it. And I think that in our new society, that cap has been taken off. There's not a cap on it anymore. And it's really scaring a lot of people who have been like in the old world when it comes to religion, because the new world isn't going to stand for that anymore. It's, you think about it the same way, like the Queen had to adapt to the new rules, right? The Queen had all these crazy rules over in England that she follows, but all of that is drastically different now compared to what she did 40 years ago.
Yeah, and you're right that this subject is now becoming so much more mainstream. Before, it was just people would chuckle when you mentioned aliens or UFOs, and now, because of recent admissions, they're like, well, they're real. Oh. We don't know what they are, but they're real, and that's an important first step, I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? One of the other things that I've been thinking about is people with absolutes. Like, there's some people in this field that say, all the aliens are benevolent, and then there's other people that think they're all evil. I think it's absolutely
naive.
Yeah, I think that they're neither, because I think that at the end of the day, what we use are earthly words to describe things, and we describe things as good and bad, what is here on Earth. But saying good or bad or benevolent or not benevolent, how are we to grasp or understand that when we are only looking at it from our perspective, right? Think about it when we tag animals like whales in the ocean. from a whale's perspective, it looks like we're being very aggressive. We're kidnapping them. We're literally stabbing them with things that track them. And to that could seem super bad and negative. But realistically, what we're doing is we're trying to help them. We're trying to further along their species. But from their perspective, we're the asshole.
That's a very good way to look at it, actually, because they could be. I've often thought, people ask me, well, you've been looking at this for a long time. What do you think they're here for? And I've often thought that it's some kind of anthropology project. Like maybe they're, tens of thousands of years ahead of us in technology. And of course, they would be interested in a species that's so far behind them. Like, let's study these people that just discovered how to split the atom, because we did that 100,000 years ago. And we don't really remember what that part of our technological development was like. And maybe we can learn something about our own history from this species that is going through that now.
100%, that could be a possibility.
Yeah,
there's also another huge possibility that's out there. A lot of theory that people have been talking about, that a lot of these UFOs and stuff are not actually aliens, but it's us from the future trying to go back.
That's a good weird theory, yeah.
And look at us,
and
that's
called something. I forget it. It's
it's the name of it, Dr.
or something.
Dr. Dr. Michael Masters. There we go. Everyone, look him up.
Dorothy Hawkins with a kind and generous $5. To what extent?
Hey, Dorothy.
Jamie and Bree think that religious, spiritual experiences could be content. I often have thought this.
I think that
used to be people saw angels. After
so
1947, people started seeing aliens instead of angels.
Yes. So if you just look strictly at the Bible, and we talk about the same sense, I'm talking about how we have earthly words for things, right? When you talk about things like angels or chariots in the skies with fire, to me, that is textbook describing of aliens, right? You have something that looks like an angel, etheric, it hurt my eyes to look at it kind of thing. That could be an extraterrestrial. And these flaming chariots in the sky could be their UFOs. So I think when a lot of people have these experiences with things like maybe guardian angels or angels and things like that, who's to say that they're not extraterrestrials, especially when you think about extraterrestrials on an interdimensional realm and not necessarily only coming from space. So I think that there's a huge parallel in that, and I think that a lot of people probably have a lot of experiences with aliens, but because of their religious upbringing think that it's something completely different than what it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, we all see things through the prism of our culture that we've experienced.
Exactly.
So, like I have a Jewish friend, and he had poltergeist or weird activity in his house, and he saw it through the lens of being Jewish. That this was like a Jewish bad spirit. It wasn't. It wasn't the Christian version. It was the Jewish version of a bad spirit, or whatever the case may be.
I was raised Jewish, and I will say I did within the past year or two actually talk to my rabbi about aliens and what the thoughts are, what's inside the Torah. And he came back to me a few days later and absolutely said that there are aliens inside the Bible, and for us as a human to think that God couldn't create more than one thing in this universe is incredibly selfish of us as a society. And I felt that super refreshing coming from somebody who's very serious about religion. And I think it's because he also realizes that it's a time where we can't, like, you have to think about that way. You can't keep putting your stuff into a box, or people are not going to be subscribing to your stuff anymore.
Yeah, it's a big, I mean, I went through a strange time in my life where I was very Christian at the time, and I was stuck with people tell me that because I'm Christian, these things aren't real and it's something else. But I've experienced something totally different where I knew it was something different. And I was in this weird, like,
back and
does
forth,
not compute.
yeah.
Does not compute. I thought my brain was going to explode. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And at the time, the only thing I knew was to just pray on it. And I prayed on it, and I prayed on it, and I prayed on it. And I just was like, tell me what is real. Like, tell me, like, show me. And over time, it kind of led up to a huge UFO sighting. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I realized that both things can exist. And you can still believe in God, you can believe in Jesus, and you can believe in those miracles. But at the same time, we also, I think, should be aware that people did write those books. and there were things that were left out of those books. And who's to say that some things were added for more control over the people at that time?
Oh, absolutely. The Council of Nicaea,
was,
where they decided what went in and what got left out.
Exactly.
I'm a big supporter of the lost books of the Bible. And one of the most interesting things is, if you want to know why they left some of those things out, the Gospel of Thomas says there should not be a physical church. You should worship God outside.
Outside, absolutely.
Nature. But here's the thing: if they didn't have churches, they wouldn't have donations to support the
money.
Church. No money. Yeah. So thank you, Dorothy, for your kindness, your generosity.
Thank you, Dorothy.
And also, I wanted to mention this because if we talk about religion and some of the things that have to do with angels, there's a fascinating article or written work by Pope John Paul II, and it's called The Catechism on Angels. I highly recommend that if you're interested in aliens, you got to read this, because in this, it's a pope, and I'm fascinated by him because I thought, well, he's got all the secrets of the Vatican, so his writing's got to be on point. And in this Catechism of the Angels, he says that the angels are separate beings from humans that God created also in his image, but different, and they have been with us throughout all of human history. They predate humans. They were made first, and they have always interacted with us since the beginning of our species, and they are, to his view, a brother species also created by God to us. But there's distinct differences, of course. They're not physical. They're, incorporeal, or whatever the term that he used. But it's just, this whole thing that he wrote is so fascinating because it does kind of relate to what some people could consider interdimensional beings or aliens. It's all related.
It 100% is. And I think that a lot of people are very scared and afraid to admit that. So that's why you don't see a lot of, I think, people reading those type of documents from the Pope. You know what I mean? Because it's still a taboo subject when it comes to the religion side of the world, especially people who are very deep inside of religion. And I don't know, man. I wish more people would be open to that kind of stuff. I wish more people who were preachers and pastors and rabbis and things like that would go out there and start talking about things in a more university realm and not so earthly.
Yeah, some of them are interested, but some of them are like, that's kind of taboo. They don't really want to get into that. Exactly. It depends on who you ask. Growing up, I knew some priests that were into demons, which is a strange subject, but it's interesting that he's a priest. And I had one growing up that was a Jesuit, and he was one of my teachers in high school, and he was obsessed with demons and demonology. And it was cool because I could talk to him about these things and not. Some of the priests, if you start bringing this stuff up, they're like, "Why are you asking? Are you into Satan? Are you casting spells? You got a Ouija board? You got to come to confession." Like they're not into that stuff, but he was into it. He was way into it because he believed that these demons were, the rebel angels, and were cast out and all of these things, and he studied each of the demons and the hierarchy of the demons and this demon's name.
That is so interesting.
And stuff throughout history. Yeah.
Like, what's the fascination with that? That would seem a little off to me. Yeah.
We interviewed a Catholic priest exorcist here. That was a trip. The guy was an actual Catholic priest exorcist that had performed exorcisms for years.
Wait.
And
what's his name?
Does he have the Fifth Kind TV? Paul Wallace?
No, I don't believe that was his name. I could look it up, but he was involved in that Hell House with Zach Baggins for a time.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that tripped me out when I saw that. I was like,
yeah, that guy's creepy, and the stuff he does is creepy. I don't like it.
He has his hotel here, or not his hotel, his museum here in Las Vegas, and it's like $50-something to get in to walk around to go see his haunted dolls.
Yeah, and it's just a bunch of crap.
It's just a bunch of stuff in the room, I know.
It's a bunch of crap behind glass walls, right? Yeah.
You don't think you can get possessed in there? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You never know, right?
I don't like that dark stuff.
See, and I live for the dark stuff. I'm always trying to conjure the dark shit up.
I joke, but I'm not like actually down.
I had a lot of books on magic and all that kind of stuff growing up, and I just read them. I never did anything because I was always afraid that I would end up in a horror movie. Right? You're like, yeah.
That's why Brie won't let me play with Ouija boards.
Really?
No.
Yeah. She won't.
According to Catholics, those are dangerous. That's a gateway.
I've played with them before. I've had weird experiences with Ouija boards before. She won't let me play with them with her, though.
No, I don't think she should play with them even without me because it'll transfer over to me anyway.
Yes, bring the demons.
She's going to bring all that crap towards me. I don't think so.
Talk about a lot here, but it seems like a lot of the show hosts that I see, they never talk about all the frauds, fakes, and criminals in this world of UFOs and aliens. And I'm sure you're aware of some of them, and
yeah,
I think that there's a big problem here, and that is that most people aren't even willing to acknowledge that there is a problem with that, and you can't fix a problem until you acknowledge it. So I say, let's talk about these con artists. Let's expose them, and let's say you're not welcome here because you got caught selling fake stories, right?
Here's the thing, though, with I think a lot of the people who are in this society, and I'm not on anybody's side or against anybody when it comes to that stuff. What we always tell people is if there's a person in ufology and they are saying that they are the proprietor of information and they want to be the only person to give it to you, red flag, right? That's like very like, I am a leader and I can tell you what it is. Immediately.
Corey Good does that. You can
only I know.
Yeah, the only I know the information and only I can tell it to you, and it's behind this paywall and this is where it is. So those kind of people immediately red flag out. But there's a lot of people out there who I think are just like, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, right? And there's people who have some good information, but unfortunately the vehicle of that information is not the greatest in the world. So I don't like to fault a lot of the people who are in the subject for doing whatever it is that they do, because I think a lot of people, regardless if I like them personally or not, sometimes they have good information regardless of their personal politics or who they are as a person. You know what I mean?
People also change. Like David Wilcock changed a lot. I think David Wilcock started off as someone that did have good information. He was genuine. He really meant it. Yeah. And then I think it's a fame thing, and I don't even know like what went wrong there. Maybe he was like cloned and possessed or something, but he took a hard left turn.
New theory. You heard it here first. David Wilcock got replaced with a clone, and that's why he's out there scamming everybody.
Because he wasn't like that for the longest time. Like, I loved his books. I was about him. He seemed down to earth, genuine. He didn't have as big of an ego, and all of a sudden the ego just went. It turned into a monster.
And that's what I mean. The vehicle that is giving us this information, a lot of times it's because we're human and our egos get in the way. So it sucks that gets in the way of sometimes good information that's getting out there, and it gets misconstrued and gets wrapped up in this weird, sometimes culty bullshit. and then we have people again looking down on the things that we're looking into in the subject that we're researching because shit like that exists.
Yeah, and then also I do realize once in a while I've said I have to soften my tone, because I don't care if somebody makes a mistake and then they admit it and they say I was misled by this witness or whatever. But when you got people that are like pretty much caught selling 3 completely fake stories over the years, it's like, how many times am I going to give you? So I'm all for a 3 strikes rule. You could do 3 hoaxes, 3 fake stories, but then you're done. You're done. So you got.
But I think part of it too, though.
One strike for me and it was done.
part of it too, though, is like we also keep giving attention to these people by continuing to talk about them, regardless of whether or not we're talking about positively or negatively about them. It's creating more buzz about them. So sometimes I think it's better to just not mention some of these people, because eventually they're going to fade away over time. And I do feel bad that a lot of people fall into their traps, but like we can't be out here saving everyone, though. Like at the end of the day, if you're a person who's susceptible to that kind of shit, you got some work to do.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I say if I got a guy that's a famous UFO celebrity and I've got him dead to rights interviewing a dead man to sell a story, the guy died 5 years before you interviewed them. So come on.
Okay, wait, who is this?
This is Richard Dolan and Jeremy Corbell. They interviewed this CIA deathbed confession video. They made this video. They sold that story. And Linda Moulton
he was already dead?
He was already dead 5 years prior to the interview they did.
Okay, but did they do the interview and then they released it 5 years after?
No. He died in 2008. They did the interview in 2014. So somebody has to explain to me. And Richard Dolan said that he would be making a statement on this 6 months ago, and he's never come and said this is what happened. And I think he has a responsibility to. He made lots of money selling that story. It got millions of views, him and Corbell, and it's completely fake because the guy died. And it's fake for more reasons than that, but
I think
we can start there. We can start there.
I think that Richard Dolan is a very handsome man.
Jamie is not objective here because she wants to bang Dolan.
I'm
disappointed that Jamie wants to bang Richard Dolan. Okay?
I will say I think that Richard Dolan is the most attractive man in the UFO field right now. So I give him that tip of my hat. So
Jamie, you have daddy issues. Come on.
No, we call him Daddy Dolan.
We call him Daddy Dolan. That's our nickname for him.
I think Jamie has daddy issues.
Of course I do. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't have daddy issues?
Who doesn't have them these days? Jesus, come on now. All of us do. That you remember.
How do we know? Like, I feel like this could happen to anyone, and that kind of scares me too. Maybe like once you reach a certain level in the field and people come to you all the time and you think that you're vetting them out, and then is it too late to back out? You already made a big deal out of it. So,
and you need something to sell. That's the other thing. It's financially motivated. He needs to constantly come up with new stories to sell to keep the ball rolling, new books, new stories.
But that's what, then we get into the bigger picture of what is UFO-tainment and difference between UFO-tainment and UFO education, right? And there's a big divide between that. And I think that's something that I've said a lot of is what this field needs is a lot of new faces, specifically not old white men talking about UFOs.
That's why I was happy to see you guys.
We need new perspectives and we need new people talking about it, because as much as I love Daddy Dolan's not giving me a lot of new information these days, right? And I would love if just new real shit came out, and I just don't see a lot of the old white folks giving us that information these days. So I welcome new people coming out, new whistleblowers who are coming out daily.
Bunch of old white dudes, right?
Yeah. A lot of the same information, and but rehashed. I don't really know who could enter the field other than who's already here now, the little people, the three of us kind of, I don't.
And I think that's the thing though. It's not about one person getting super big and taking over the UFO world. It's a bunch of all of us small group together who are changing the course of the UFO topic. I think that what we need to do is we need to stop idolizing people and turning people into celebrities, and that will solve a lot of problems in this field.
There is a huge hunger for this information, and people want so desperately for it to be true and real stories. We've got people out there using child molesters as sources for their alien stories. We've got people out there using murderers in prison, saying that they're teleporting out of prison, and people eat this stuff up, and I can't believe the views they get. I'm like, are you kidding me? There's a guy in prison,
No.
Well, hold on. The chat is hating that I said old white people. Listen, I'm not hating on old white people. I'm just saying we've had that for a long time. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of diversity. We've had nothing but old white people. I'm not hating on old white people. It's just
guys.
We've had that for a long time. It's just time for some different perspectives. I'd love to just more people to come out and be talking about this instead of the same 10 people over and over again. That's all.
Yeah, and if
that's really the point.
If you notice, there is a cast of characters that is in so many different documentaries, and it's all the same five or six, seven people.
It's like you're watching the same documentary over and over and over, or the same show over and over and over again. Especially because, again, they talk about the same topics over and over and over again. That's what I'm saying. I want to hear more new, fresh stuff.
Exactly. It's really not about the white people. I feel like a lot of people are really stuck on that.
They're so upset about it.
It's really not. It's just that it's true. You can't say that it's not true that when you think of the typical lineup for ufologists,
that's just what it looks like.
It's what it is. You need young people too. How about that?
I'm all for that. I'm a big supporter of
people.
I want to see that the I kind of feel like some of these people, it's like you've had a nice run for 20 or 25 years. Like move aside. It's time for other people, because there are some people, and I'm not talking about me, but I have seen some guys that are doing some amazing, incredible research and work into this topic. and they get almost no attention. And it's
no, and I agree
sad,
with you in that sense. I think that there's people who have been out there for a long time, and I think that there's a space and an opportunity for new people who are doing new and different things to come forward, especially with a lot of the way that they're scientifically researching the topic right now, and a lot of these like new companies and groups that are forming who are really looking into investigating UFOs. I would like to see some of those companies and groups be quote unquote famous and celebrities instead of individual people.
Yeah.
Even, you know, it's hard. Like, as much as I just said I wish that there were new people, sometimes the new people that we get, I still don't like. I can't help it.
I agree with you on that. Yeah. I don't know.
Like,
I
who
see
are
some, you know, well, I try not to worry about anybody else's show because I have enough of my own problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I do like to look at other shows and go, what are they doing right? What are they doing that I disagree with or whatever? And there's some shows that I call it the UFO circle jerk. They just have these people on that are extremely problematic and they just let them talk and they don't call them on their past fake stuff that they were selling or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there is a game out there. And for people that don't know it, it's the circle jerk game. There are these some of these UFO celebrities that just will only do the shows where they know they're going to get the softball interview. They won't go to someplace like Alien Scientist or me because they know that we're going to press them, you know? I mean,
see, but that's a bigger problem with inside of ufology in general. Then again, the problem is you're idolizing these people and assuming that they're supposed to answer to you guys in some way, right? And as because they're putting themselves out there as a person, you're assuming that they have to answer to you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they don't have any responsibility to answer to me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but like we just assume that these people are out here to answer us, and they're just at the end of the day human beings, you know?
Yeah, you're right. I will think about what you've said. And I'm trying to be kinder and gentler to some people.
You know what? Don't get me wrong. Me and Bree really make fun of this subject, although we are very diehard believers. We crack a lot of jokes. We poke fun at people.
Sure,
but one
you have
thing,
to laugh at it.
But one thing that we do is like we try to be super respectful and open to everybody's ideas and opinions, regardless of what it is. And we're not somebody to like trash on people at the end of the day. You know, like as much as we joke and make fun of, like everybody's entitled to their own weird opinions. And
you guys are much more diplomatic than me.
Well, I truly believe that
nice. You're very nice. I respect that. I
want to live in a world with a lot more niceness and positivity because I think we've had enough hate and bullshit and tearing this community apart.
Sometimes there's people like Michael Horn that you have to say, "Shut up, Michael Horn, you dummy!" Right? You went off on him. Didn't you?
I did. No, I 100%.
With his fake garbage can lid.
But you know what? And that's you learn shit along the way, and that's what I mean. And we try to be, I guess you would say, diplomatic. I like hearing everybody's side.
They were the
that's
victim of a crazy UFO cult, just like me, because they disagreed with something. Right?
Yeah.
It's not even that we disagreed. It's like the thing is that he wanted to come on the show and trash a bunch of people. And I was just, it's not what we're into and what we do. We wanted to talk about the story. So we left all of that in and we edited
you
out
have editorial rights. It's your show.
Exactly. It was our show. And so,
it's more than that though. It's so much more than that. We had done an episode on Billy Meyer. Mm-hmm. And we tried to present everything that we had learned. And we both kind of came to the conclusion that he was full of shit. Mm-hmm. And so we let Michael come on to try to show us evidence that he isn't full of shit. So that's what the episode was supposed to be about. He was supposed to be there to prove his case. Not to shit on other people. Exactly. So it's like, what are you doing here? We invited you to prove to us that Billy isn't full of shit.
And he couldn't do that. He just wanted to talk bullshit about people. So it just showed us
if they don't believe me,
he was there to settle a score with everybody that ever said. And that's what he does. He targets anybody that says the story is not true and real.
But a big reason why nobody wants to investigate that story or even look into it is because he's this weird gatekeeper who acts like that. That's exactly why nobody wants to look into the subject, or he gets mad because he's like, nobody wants me on my show. Nobody wants you on the show. It's not about the Billy Meyer story. It's you as a human being.
I gotta say, growing up, I saw those pictures in a general book on UFOs. It wasn't about Billy Meyer, but they had a few of the Billy Meyer pictures, and I loved those. I thought, wow, this is cool. Mm-hmm. But even as a child, I was like, yeah, it looks like glued together stuff on a string. And then I tried as a child to do something like that, and you could. It's not hard to do, you know. Mm-hmm. Somebody on the internet even did it. there's a guy on the internet who did all this debunking, and he built the models, hung the strings, and filmed it all with one arm, just to prove. Because that's an argument. That's been an argument for years.
Oh, how could he do this all with one arm?
So this guy on the internet, on YouTube, he did it all with one arm, and he filmed himself doing it. So there's no way to argue with that. And Mikey Horn is crazy, and they're real big on like saying that Billy Meyer predicted all this stuff, but he could never show me copyrights or proof that he predicted it before the events.
Yeah.
It always seems to be after the events. It's like, oh, this happened. And suddenly they dig out some book that they say was published 20 years prior that he predicted.
And they were like, here you go.
But nobody else had that book, just them, you know?
And it's vague. It's all
super vague.
And they're just saying that's what they're talking about. But it could be about a million things.
And so it's not like... my wife says my next old white guy is going to be a sugar daddy. So thanks for that. I'm surprised she's listening. She never listens to the show. She must be bored as shit or something.
Hello, wifey.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, she's interesting in that she has zero interest in any of this. She just calls it, once in a while she'll say like, "Who's on the show tonight?" And I try to explain it to her, and she's like,
"Okay."
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. She's like, "What?" My husband's the same way, pretty much. He's a believer, but yeah, he's just like.
Brando, thank you very much. Brando, just
thank
to
you.
These ladies.
So
cool,
nice.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody go down there. There's a link in the description to their channel, and I'm going to be sharing that as much as I can. We want to help them get to the magic numbers.
Thank you.
Everybody deserves a couple of bucks for all they put a lot of hard work, time, talent, and dedication into what they do.
We do. I will say though, we're new to the YouTube world. We've been doing our audio podcast. We're going on our 5th year now, and we've been living in audio land for a long time. And we recently, within the last about 6 months, been kind of transitioning over into this whole YouTube world. So it's kind of a journey for us. So you guys if you subscribe, you're along for the journey for what the hell our channel is going to be. It's just ever evolving and changing.
It is weird to be like new kids, it feels like.
And somebody mentioned they only use PayPal, not Super Chats. There's PayPal donate links in the About section, and we'll call those out later. If anybody makes a PayPal donation, be sure to include your chat room user ID because you don't want me calling out your real name, and add a line and whatever you want me to share.
Yes.
Poor Jamie,
so far, people have been very nice. I'll say anything they want, though. So far, nobody said, like, I love to suck big dicks or anything like that. So
do people do that? Love that.
No,
I would love that. I'd read it.
You could make me say anything you want. I'll read it, right?
Ooh, ooh, okay.
Are they American?
I'm going to do that next time I want you to plug something for me.
Yeah. Well, I have planned to try to help you guys. I know that I helped Amy get over the hump, and that was cool that we could help her. You guys, I don't remember how many more you need, but
oh my God,
Amy needed.
I think a million.
I think right now we're almost at 400 subscribers, so I think we need 600 more. So if you guys could go and make like 20 accounts each and just subscribe to all of them.
It's against the terms of service, and we
don't do that. Oh yeah, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. But if you have a lot of cousins in Siberia,
there's 75 people watching us right now. So even if half of you went over there and clicked that subscribe button, it would really help them out. Get them a bump.
They're not going to. They're upset still about the fucking white comment.
God damn it, Jamie. You had to insult the old white guys.
You know what's funny is that of all the things that I could get in trouble for, it's saying fucking white. All right.
The white girl calling about the white.
You didn't mean it in that.
I am a white person.
You had a good point there. It's true. It's a bunch of old white guys in this thing. And, I'm all for diversity. But you know what I believe? I really, truly believe that I'm all for diversity, but people should get there on their own merit. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your sex is. I don't really care. I respect good work. And I see people out there, I could care less if they're white, black, Puerto Rican, Indian, whatever, or woman, man. We had the coochie controversy here with Kelly. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Remember? Kelly, people were accusing them of using their breasts or something.
Some channel.
So she went off. She was like, why? Just because I have a coochie? I can't do this? I can't talk about UFOs?
Somebody was like, it's so interesting that women in ufology are just shaking their tits around on their YouTube channel. And then, she just like went off. She lit up that motherfucker. Who gives a shit? If we want to listen, if we want to show our tits and talk about fucking aliens, who fucking cares? I'm sorry, I'm saying the F word a lot. So one thing I was said not to do.
You know, you're going to cost me 27 cents in YouTube revenue.
God damn it, I'm sorry.
Jamie owes me 27 cents in YouTube
I'll Venmo it to you, I promise.
She is a shapeshifter, that's indeed.
I think that what's interesting is that the guy...
Randall really dislikes me, and it's all right, Randall, I love you. I'll pray for you.
I don't think he dislikes
you. Know, the guy who was making those accusations and nasty, he then decided to make a hit piece on me because I was supportive of women in ufology. And he said that in his hit piece video that people threatened his mother that had cancer, and that he had to make police reports. And I said, well, hey, I apologize. Send me a copy of the police reports. And
what does that have to do with you?
Give me your mom's number. Because I was supporting women in ufology. And I said, hey, we should support women in ufology. Yeah. Oh, no, they attacked me because you started it. But
that's not your fault.
He literally asked for the attention.
This guy claimed that all those women went and threatened his mother who had cancer and that he had to make police reports. So I called him. It was a bluff. I said, give me your mother's number. I want to call her and talk to her about what happened and apologize then.
Yeah.
And hang out.
He would not let me talk to her. And then I said, well, give me the police reports and I'll show them on my show and I'll apologize to you. He wouldn't give me those. Then I called I got his address. I called his local police district. There was no police reports of harassment. He just bluffed it all.
Good investigator.
Because he looked like a dummy because he went and attacked these women for no reason.
Well, the thing is, I looked at his account too.
And it seems Patrick Sheehan with a kind generous $9.99.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. I appreciate
Who cares about 27 cents? I just got $10.
Jesus, $10. I think that
Thank you, Patrick.
Sometimes what happens is like people just get confused when they're like. So I looked at his channel and he is somebody who is really, really into trying to start shit with people because that's how he gets attention, right? So I think that at the end of the day, you can't look at what it is he's saying, but look about the context of what his channel is trying to like show out to the world. And he's purposely just trying to pick fights with people so people talk about him so he stays irrelevant.
Yeah, drama clicks.
Exactly. It's stinky.
Which actually, I can't lie, that works sometimes. Right.
And that's the thing, though. It does because we live in a society where they love drama and they love like the whole reality TV of bullshit. So 100% people are going to go out there and go and look into it and subscribe it. And we're just perpetuating that by continuing talking about it. You know what I mean? Because it's going to make people want to go and click and watch that video and see what he said about you.
Oh, I never talked about it because I didn't want to drive traffic to him.
You don't want to drive traffic to him because there's no point. What's the point of giving him the attention?
And I'm real big on I don't punch down. So if it had been a much bigger channel than me that did a hit piece, and then he did a separate hit piece on me before, and I made him take it down because he made all these factually inaccurate statements. And I said, do you know what slander is, bro? You said all this as a statement of fact. You don't have evidence to support anything. Oh, he said that I took advantage of a mentally ill woman in the form of Anjali. And I said, she said right on the show she's not mentally ill. You don't have any proof she's mentally ill, and you made that a statement of fact. You have to take the video down. And he was like, what? I'm not taking the video down. 20 minutes later, he took the video down because he knew he was wrong. You know?
I have a question for you. What is your top sketch ufologists out there? Since you do good research, writing them down. Like, what's your top?
My two
at least
favorites.
Your top stay away from.
My top two favorites are Corey Good and David Wilcock. I think they have zero value to anything that they do. And I've caught them in so many scams and dirty dealings that you just know, like these are not people that you should listen to because they're all about the money and all their information turns out to be fake. They use fake sources. They use fake insiders. They manufacture fake stories, you know. I mean, both of them have been caught manufacturing fake stories, using fake sources, you know. David Wilcock he always cites Pete Peterson, and we did a whole 2-hour show on this guy, Pete Peterson, being complete total fraud. Like every line in his bio was made up and not true. He said he worked for the Russian space agency. We checked with a Russian space historian. That wasn't true. Like everything in his bio, his education was fake. He said he worked for Ronald Reagan. We checked with the Ronald Reagan archives. That was fake. And David Wilcock loves citing that guy. Completely, totally fake, made up source. And the same for Corey Good. Like, that guy just makes up stories and has been 7 years, no proof. But I time traveled, and you know what? I would forgive him, and I wouldn't even bust his balls if he was a decent person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you ever heard of Jason Quitt?
Yeah,
Jason
I guess he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Mm-hmm.
But Jason Quitt tells what I would say are similar stories, that not space adventures, but he's had these metaphysical
Space adventures.
You know, but Jason Quitt has had these metaphysical weird time jumps and weird.
Right,
I have his book
but it's
here.
not.
Yeah.
It's very
it's not
interesting.
Like physical.
But the thing is that Jason Quitt is such a nice, genuine person. He would never hurt anybody. He would never vengefully attack somebody that said his story wasn't real.
Well,
so for me, I gave him a pass. I go, I'm giving him a pass.
And he's also not out here saying that he's the only person with the information. And like, he's not doing all those red flaggy things that we don't want with people who are giving information inside of the society. You know what I mean? Like,
use that term. This person is doing red flaggy things.
They are. It's a red flag.
Yeah.
It's 100%. We as a society need to start looking at red flags more when it comes to people and stop just blindly doing shit.
Wait, what did I miss about the titties? I missed something about the
titty wabba.
Titty wabba. Because our titty wabba.
It's titty
Titty
wabba.
wabba. That one time I was abducted by aliens. It's our initials, and he said titty wabba.
I love that. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's
Thank you for
cool.
that.
Can we see your titty wabba?
Can we see your titty wabba?
Yes,
Hey,
on our OnlyFans account
Family
for
show.
lots and
Subscribe
lots
to the
of
Patreon.
money. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna start an OnlyFans account, but on mine, people are gonna pay me to keep my clothes on.
See, there you go,
Oh, man.
That'd be a better strategy.
Be like, threaten them
Hey.
emails. Be like, if you do not send me $5, I will send you a picture of my nipple.
See, 1980s David Wilcock. See, he did a good job. He was legit. He was a cool guy. And then all of a sudden, he just fucking took a left turn. I'm surprised that people are still into their shit, to be honest. I'm just like,
now.
what?
It's so ridiculous. And all these psychic
Mhm.
predictions he makes, none of them come true. He predicted that Trump would win the election in a landslide. Then when that didn't work out, he said the results will be overturned and Biden will never step foot in the White House. And you know,
I look like Jenna
Keep
Marbles.
keep your
Thank
mouth
you.
shut.
That's actually sweet. I like that.
The
Thank you.
second that Corey Good tried to sue people for using the term
Oh my God.
SSP for
Secret Space Program.
I
It was like, I'm done. Yeah.
You just he was gaslighting himself. Like that just looks so
yeah, it's sketchy. It's not about disclosure. You know what else is interesting about him? Everybody that works with or for him has to sign a non-disclosure agreement, but he's
Yes.
Mr. Disclosure. It makes no sense. Like, really, Mr. Disclosure? I got to sign a non-disclosure agreement to do your website?
That's some other red flag shit. Anytime somebody wants you to sign a fucking disclosure like that for no reason, there's a reason.
I think the day that he didn't sign my book is when his head got so big that I was like, I'm not in.
Oh, please tell the story. Tell the story.
Oh, come on. He wouldn't sign your book?
Yeah,
a
so tell
long
the story,
time
Brie.
ago, I was a big David Wilcock fan. I used to read all of his books, and it even like the first time I saw him lecture, I was too shy to ask him. I used to be super fucking shy. I was too shy to ask him. So the second time I went and saw him lecture, I did bring all my books, and Jamie and my husband basically like pushed me to go ask him because I was still fucking shy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him to sign my book, and he said no. He was like,
He just said no?
Not now. He was like, no, not now. And he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And I
And
was
you know what
He's
else?
literally standing.
He's very
I
interesting in
was
that
so
all the
hurt.
other
There was
guys.
like a tear. I like walked back.
She
with my
literally,
book.
like, the rest of her day was ruined.
She
She was
was
so
upset,
upset.
right?
Yeah, she was.
You know what's
'Cause she
funny,
had like
though?
all
I
her
was like,
books.
Yeah, he's
a little
more
tear. They're
important.
like, what happened? I'm like, he said no. They're like,
Yeah,
what?
he wouldn't do it. Yeah, nice
For
guy. Well,
real?
you know what's funny though is that a lot of the
Never
guys,
meet your heroes.
a lot of the people,
Yeah.
Thank you,
are,
Ryan.
Like, they're regular people, and they walk around the conference. And if people come up to them and talk to them, they stop and they talk. They're like regular people, like Nick Redfern and a few others that are down to
For
earth
sure.
people.
Yeah.
And, you know, like John from the Black Vault and a few others I could think of. But Wilcock and Good are always like they need to have their own room.
Yes.
They need security. What do you need security for? Talk about stupid nonsense, you know?
I know. And it was a small conference. He wasn't doing anything. Honestly, I swear it was like from that day forward. Because he didn't used to be like that. He didn't have security. He was more down to earth. And then
so thanks for your $20. And look, from my perspective, I would, if somebody asked me to sign a book, I have a book on Amazon. And
you'd want to sign it.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like a rock star. Really?
Exactly. That's how you get your money. He's getting his money from people that buy his books.
And he didn't even stop to think, right? What did you say? I bought all his books. I read all his books. You asked him to sign a book, and he didn't even stop to think that this person may have spent $100 buying every book I've ever written. And as a supporter of mine, I should take 10 seconds and just say, I'm very busy right now. Give me the book. Thank you for your support, and sign the book. That's all he had to do, right?
All he had to do.
He wasn't even busy. He could have been like, in a minute. He
literally could have scribbled anything. Exactly.
All right, I'm doing a new video. I'm clipping out parts of this, and we're going to demand that he sign the book.
That he signs the books at this point.
I need to know what book it was. I'm gonna buy one. And I'm gonna send
she had like multiple.
She had all his addresses.
She had like 5. She had like 5 of his books in her hand. She was like, she went up there with all of the stuff, like big-eyed, like, please, sir, can you sign this? And he was just like, no, I will not.
Oh my God, like that orphan thing.
That was
exactly.
That was a really. I was like,
lesson. we learned early that meeting your hero. That's why I say when we talk about these people, we talk about them as being human beings. Because me and Bree, one thing that we do is we go to a lot of conferences, and we've actually spent a lot of time with these speakers, just sitting at bars and drinking with them, because it's a big part of going.
Some of the inside baseball on that.
Yeah,
stuff,
there's that happens, and you learn very quickly that these, at the end of the day, are human beings just like we are, and the versions that you see on TV of them are not the same versions that you see when they sit on the couch. They're completely different kinds of people.
Yeah, but if someone's writing a book telling people that it's about service to others, but they won't take 2 seconds to sign a book for one of their fans and someone that's actually
and that's even worse. Now that I know that you had a stack of his books in your hand, he could have looked at that and said, she must have bought all my books.
And 190-degree desert.
But he couldn't. No. Right?
And
thanks, Lee Guy, for your kindness, generosity, and support. Lee Guy's going to start an OnlyFans. It's just going to be me laughing.
Yes.
Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your
Lee,
support.
With that kind of money you keep donating, I think you need to start an OnlyFans just so you can continue to donate.
Yes. Well, listen. Now we got to get into some of this drama. So who's the wild ones? Right? I've heard like Laura Eisenhower likes to pound a few down, and a few other people.
So here's the thing.
I'm the wild one.
I was like, here's the thing. When it comes to the UFO, no, she really is. But when it comes to the UFO conferences and stuff, it's not one person over the other. It's everybody is completely relaxed in themselves, and everybody gets trashed and does whatever the hell they want. It's not like an individual, like everybody. I'll tell you guys something here. Nick Pope got really drunk. Me and Bree might have got him drunk by buying him tequila, and he ate all of my nachos. This is a true story that happens. I have no idea I have no idea. We have pictures of it. We have no idea if he remembers eating my nachos or anything like that, but he did. That's the kind of stuff that happens there. So it's not that it's not like there's too much to dish, because everybody is just like hanging out and having fun. And you have to be there, and in the moment at the night when everybody's been drinking, they've been hanging out all day and learning new information and wanting to talk about things. And it's a really super cool vibe to hang out with these people and just talk to them and like learn more about the subject.
Yeah, but I have a bone to pick with Pope, because that's not the first time he's done that. He's done that a lot.
It's not actually. We've
called out
Nick Pope a few times at this point. For a long time, we didn't.
I will say in his defense that when you're drunk, nachos are delicious.
No, and that's
it's
fine.
Not about the nachos.
It's not about the nachos.
It's not about the nachos.
It's that we've hung out with them. Yeah. Multiple times we've gotten drunk with them, and he actually doesn't know us. Exactly. That's the bigger picture. It's like
I was just like, what the fuck?
Never, yeah. But we've hung out with them like multiple times. Like at one point he actually like lived not that far from where we were living at, and he like invited us to hang out with him and his wife at a local place that they hung out at. Like, but he still pretends like he doesn't know us.
And then we're like, on the fucking show, and it's just like, I'm too busy.
He's like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. I'm too busy. Thank you.
Like, this is COVID. No one's busy.
No one's busy, Pope.
We're in lockdown.
Yeah.
No one's fucking busy.
I started my show right at the start of this thing, so I had a captive audience. I'm praying for more lockdowns. That's what I'm doing.
It keeps your audience in.
Come on, Omicron. Let's go.
Let's go.
Lock these people down. Make them so bored they watch my show more. Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
we
I
did
don't
not
think
pay
have
him
any good
$50
information
to
anyways.
talk to him, but we did buy him some drinks to talk to us.
so.
I
Oh, yeah,
bought
that
him
was the
lots of
thing.
drinks.
I was
We
very
bought Nick
critical
Bubble
of
out of
that.
drinks,
I
yeah.
was very critical of that. He's doing $50 Zoom sessions. You get 6
Oh.
minutes.
Get
You
it.
6
All right.
minutes for $50.
Okay, wait. Let's talk about something when it comes to ufology and people getting money.
No,
Listen,
you know what I'm
we
going to
all-
do?
We all grind.
I'm going to
We
do
all
it.
grind. Let him do it.
I'm going to do it.
First of all, Nick Barra is one of our greatest friends.
Nick
Don't you dare
Barra?
talk.
Mike Barra.
I mean, Mike Barra.
Oh,
Sorry, Nicholas is his name.
I
Don't
wish
you
I could
dare
show
talk bad
you
about
the
Mike Barra.
picture.
He's our best friend, and yes, he did hit on both of us. We love Mike Barra with a very deep-seated passion.
I have a picture. I have a picture.
No, you know what I'm
of
going to
Mike
do?
Barra.
Please, Bree, please show it. Please, right now, please show it.
Jamie and
please.
Brianna, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to give him the $50, and then as soon as he comes on the Skype, I'm just going to start yelling and screaming at him for eating your nachos, and I'm going to record it, and then I'm going to play it on my
And send
show.
it to us. Beautiful,
Like,
beautiful. I love
how
that.
dare
If
you eat your
Nick comes on
nachos?
your show, I will be pissed. At that point, I'm
He-
going to be
he
like,
won't.
he's
He
fucking
won't come on my
sexist.
show.
That's it.
No,
I've
but-
been very critical of his claims, of many of his claims, so he's not coming on my show. He
Well,
blocked
that's
me
okay.
on
It's
Twitter
just
too. Yeah.
Boring.
Oh,
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah. He
Boring.
doesn't like questions.
Boring.
anyways,
like
everyone
this.
hates Barra and his bullshit. And I listen. We
You
all live in
like
our
it.
own world, and I love Barra because I love him as a human being, and he's my favorite.
Yeah,
No,
see,
Barra
sometimes
is
you-
unapologetically himself, and that's
And
why
that's
I
what
like
we
him.
love about him, regardless of what his
He's like,
politics
I don't
are or
care.
what he's into. He doesn't give two shits, and we vibe with that.
Oh,
super hard.
I couldn't place him, and now I know who he is.
Yeah, Barra.
I think he's a Jedi
Barra's been on our show
myself.
2 or 3 times, and then
Really?
recently we interviewed him for Contact in the Desert when that was going on this year for their website. But we're big. We love Mike Barra. Mike Barra, like I said, is one of our dear friends.
And they hit
Yeah,
on you
but
both.
he doesn't care. And he has, all those people are his colleagues. He does shows with them and
Mhm.
conferences with them,
Yep.
and he still doesn't care to call people out on their bullshit. And I think that's kind of crazy. When you're at a level where you're getting paid to be on TV with certain people, I think it's very ballsy, and it just shows that he isn't afraid to
He's just
speak
himself at the end of the day.
mind, and he's really the only person I felt like that was out there that was willing to say that he doesn't believe any of the
TikTok
videos
videos
that came out. He
From the
picked
government.
apart the TikTok, picks apart Lou Elizondo. He was like the first person that was just like, fuck it. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon that everyone else seems to be on.
And he never has jumped on any bandwagon. That's what I love about him.
Maybe I've been unfair to him. I don't know much about him, but I do know that
We love
some of the stuff that he was pushing were like really grainy, crappy photos from the moon that can be disproven easily and some other stuff. So sometimes I just turn off to certain personalities and I go, not credible, not listening. And he's one of those.
Well, and
people
here's
turn
one
off.
thing that I really love about Mike, especially because he's in this, because Mike doesn't stick to one topic, and he definitely jumps on and is always constantly giving new information to new topics, regardless of what his opinion is on it. He's not just like giving you the same story over and over again. He has his books, so he does sell those. So he talks about shit that he's done before, but he's talking about recent topics and things like that. He's not just like trying to give you some bullshit like buy my cult stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's underappreciated, guys. We're big Mike Barra fans. Honestly, I'm gonna clip this and send it to him because I love him.
And I don't agree with a lot of shit.
Hey, I would interview him. but I would have to.
He's
I
a
would
great
have
guy.
to read a couple of his books first before I do.
You should. He's a really good guy.
I've seen him around. I just not
if you want a shortcut, you could go listen to. Like I said, we interviewed him twice, 3, 4 times on our show. Go listen to it.
You mean you're gonna buy his books and not read
buy
them, but you're gonna
No,
buy
I
them.
will. If I interview somebody, that forces me to read them. Sometimes I book interviews. Like we had David Halperin, and he had this really amazing book on spirituality and UFOs and mythology. And I wanted to read it, and I knew if I booked him as a guest, I would read it, and I did.
There you go. It's motivation.
Unprepared. So yeah, it motivated me to get it done. Right?
Evidence like UAP a lot.
Oh, and people are commenting that he hit on you both at Contact in the Desert, right?
100%. Look, there you go. Look, there's Mike Barra and Bree.
Oh, you planning one on him,
Wait, let me tell the story.
I sat on George Norrie's lap. I was just doing whatever the fuck I want.
So we were at Contact of the Desert, and they have this like awards ceremony, and is it George Norrie's birthday? Whose birthday is it every time?
It's George Norrie's birthday.
It's George Norrie's birthday every time at this Contact of the Desert.
I'm the party animal.
So we paid money to go to this banquet. It was like $50 or $60 each, and you get to pick a table where you sit with one of the speakers. And we were very late and last in line, and one of the only tables that was left open for enough people that we had in our group, because it was me, her, and her husband, was Mike Barrows, and we're like, fuck it, we like Barrow, we'll go do that. And honestly, ever since then is when we've been best friends with him, because we sat at his table. He bought Brie a drink, but I ended up drinking it. It was just like the craziest time. And then we went downstairs and was hanging out with Nori, and like it was one of the craziest nights we've ever had, where we just had so much fun. And it was Clyde Lewis was there, if I remember correctly. It was crazy. It was so much fun.
Oh, I was on his show. I like him. He's got a best radio voice ever.
He does have a super good radio voice. But yeah, like that's what the conferences are about. I highly recommend, as much as they're a shit ton of money and they're a pain in the ass to get to sometimes, they're worth every fucking penny. You have so much fun and such cool experiences with people there. Even if you don't have them with people like speakers and stuff, and you just hang out with random people that are there. We did that for years, just like random ass people.
Yeah, I've heard that that's most of the fun, right?
Oh, for
that's
sure.
Most
you
of
make
the
so
fun.
much
It's
friends.
not about the
so
lectures or whatever. It's about the camaraderie, and you know that you're among friendly people that aren't just going to go, boy, you're nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
exactly.
for sure.
It's a safe space. As much as I hate that word, right?
No, but it is.
It is though. It's comfortable. It's like we meet so many people there. I remember the last time we went, it's the first day, and it was before the conference even started, and there were like tons of people in our hotel room. And at one point I was just like, who are these people?
Yeah, I think there was at some point, I think I have a picture. It was just like, yeah, there was
when I go to the conferences,
random people in our hotel room.
If I ever get to them, I'm going, where is Jamie and Brianna? Because
definitely
I want
groupies,
the party.
just making
I want
friends.
the party. Galactic groupies. Yeah.
We've actually been called that, but that's not the first time we've been called that. That's funny. And listen, it's not that we're groupies. It's like we just hang out and want to have fun with people. Like you would understand if you were there. It's a whole party vibe. You got to be there.
There's
Everyone who's there does that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these people we've just made friends with, and they stick around, and then
some of these
like
people who
point.
Yeah, or like
hey,
we meet every year there. We're like, are you going to this one? Are you going to that one? Honestly, we met UFO Jane at Alien Con. We've met people. I think we met the UFO Garage guys and Dave from SRO at conferences. Like we just meet people along the way.
Glitch wants a tall Nordic girlfriend.
Hey, don't we all?
It's like, think about it. People come to the chats, right? You see people talk, and then you come to the chats. Everyone like makes friends. People recognize each other in the chat. It's like that, but in real life.
In real life.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like, hey, I want to take a shot. Like, you can't tell me that's not fucking fun and that you wouldn't want to go. Doesn't mean we're all groupies with each other. It's just literally that we all want to hang out. It's so much fun.
No, I can see it. And I've heard from so many different people that they had more fun with just just hanging out in the conference rooms and stuff before the actual event, and meeting people, and like I said, it's a strange niche interest. So it's just like if you're hugely into Dungeons and Dragons and you go to a Dungeons and Dragons convention, you're gonna have a good time because you're with your peeps.
Yeah, because everyone accepts you. The conversations too that are had, oh my God, it's like it goes all over the place. People aren't afraid, where obviously you're not going to go down to local Starbucks and have a random conversation with a bunch of people there that are willing to talk about alternate universes. So it's like, it's
you gotta find the right kind of people to start.
Yeah, you have to be super specific with that stuff.
Start being genuine with your crazy interests, right? I don't talk about any of this stuff to regular people, and it's funny, most people don't know what I do. So, once in a while somebody will find out, and then they tune in and they go, "Wow." Like, oh, I didn't know.
So that's what you're into.
Yeah. I'm into butt stuff and anal probes and aliens. That's it.
So are we, I guess.
So are we.
We're about the butt stuff. And not afraid to admit it.
Not afraid. No.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned before, I totally forgot about it. I'm sorry, but I have a note here that you guys have some news that you wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So we're going to dish now. We're getting to the good stuff now.
As we are trying to figure out our channel and meeting a lot of people in this field and in this group, trying to find our footing, we have decided that what this field needs is a yearly awards and wrap-up show. And so we have decided to sacrifice ourselves as the sacrificial lambs and take on this like huge responsibility of like gathering all of this information from the year and presenting it to everyone and packaging it all up. And so
and you got to do a lot of clip videos for each of the contestants.
So on
that's a good idea.
Exactly. So on December 29th, we're going to be live. The time isn't exactly nailed down yet, but we're going to be doing the 2021 Golden Probe Awards, and we are going to be.
I love it.
We are inviting all of you guys to come and watch and participate over the next few days and weeks. You're going to be seeing more and more about it. There's an amazing team that's going to behind it. They're called the Crash Retrieval Team, and they're really the ones who are going to be. Ooh. Can you hear us now?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. You got us?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have it's the Crash Retrieval Team. They're behind it. They're the ones who are going, and they're going to be behind helping us to make a lot of these videos, reaching out to a lot of these people to come and accept these awards. And so they're kind of the driving force behind it. And me and Brie are just the vehicle for the information. So we just
Spooky made a logo.
Yeah,
hey,
it's gonna be Spooky. Spooky knows about it. I was like, Spooky knows about it. She's somebody who's involved in it. But like I said, there's a big team behind it. Me and Brie and Bobby are just going to be kind of the hosts who are facilitating it. But yeah, the host was the mostest. And we're going to be giving you guys kind of UFO 2021 in a big giant package. And so we're really excited to announce that here live with everybody.
It's going to be
that's amazing.
Funny and probably not what you expect.
It's again, we really take a humorous approach to the topic because we think that it's super necessary. So all of this is going to be very tongue-in-cheek and making fun of the topic in a whole, kind of just going over all the craziness that's happened the past year.
I started something like this, and I screwed up and called it the 2021 Conspiracy Circus Awards, and I only got one out. It was for Boldest Liar of the Year award.
Oh no!
So,
a good
but
one.
I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea. Yeah, you can have all these different categories, right?
Oh
like,
yeah,
exactly.
They're in the works.
Biggest freak out live, or like
it's
I don't know.
Be a play on words.
Exactly. It's gonna be very interesting. What's gonna come up, and we want all of you guys to help and participate in Cambion. We hope that you come be a part of it with us too.
I feel like Cambion can give us good winners.
I was like, Cambion can give some good ones.
I'll think about it. I had that idea to do it, and I kind of screwed myself calling it 2021. I was going to pick it back up and just call it the Conspiracy Circus Awards and not put a year on it.
I was like, no, you just put a year on it every year. But yeah, it's the 2021 Golden Probe Awards where all the nominees they're going to be probies.
Oh no.
Yeah. We're going to give out golden probes to everyone. It's going to be amazing. I'm super excited about it.
Those too.
That is amazing. That is a good idea. And Spooky's going to help with some of the production stuff. And she's great.
And we have a lot of special guests who are coming. We don't want to drop any names yet, but there's a lot of behind the scenes happening. It's going to be a very interesting event, and we're super excited for it. Ufology has become cheap entertainment, and that's what we're giving you.
Only sometimes. Only sometimes. You gotta like unbutton your shirt a little bit.
Yeah, people think that it's like Match.com here. Every time I have female guests, somebody's in the live chat trying to hook up. Like, come on, Brian. But I can't blame a brother for trying, right?
Yes, I am married. I apologize.
Jamie's
but I am married.
Brianna's married, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very married.
Everyone here's married.
I'm so interested, but someone said Brie got fucked up watching E.T. What does that mean?
Hey, E.T., remember when you were a kid? That shit made you cry, right? When he died, sort of like did he die in that, and then he came back to life, and
I don't think I've ever. I don't think it bothered me too much when I was younger.
No,
maybe not.
Yeah, no.
Close Encounters still gets me. I always cry on Close Encounters. I can't help it because I'm like, I wish I was there for that, and it makes me like, oh God, it's so beautiful.
Somebody's asking about me now, Ryan. Yeah, I'm married too. We're all married.
We're all married.
Hey, so, what is that?
None of us can bang you. Find somebody else to bang you.
Maybe we're swingers and we can.
Hey.
No, I don't like sharing. I don't even like sharing food. You think I'm going to share my woman? No way.
I just want to share French fries. That's it.
I was like, I like sharing French fries. Yeah, I can never finish them.
No.
Really?
That's why it's perfect, because I don't want to share my French fries, and she'll share her French fries.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Well, listen, I don't want to keep you guys. We're coming up on 2 hours.
Yes.
I'm going to go and read these PayPal donations and do a quick wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll hopefully have you on again to publicize the Golden Probe Awards.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to thank you because yesterday was kind of really heavy. It was like heavy and dark, right? You know, some of those shows that you got to do. I got to trudge through all this stuff, and it's real. It's a dirty story.
It's a downer sometimes.
Yeah, it's a downer. Yeah, and tonight was fun, and it felt effortless. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We love it.
Everybody go, and there's the link to their website where you can catch their audio podcast. But more importantly, we're trying to pump up their YouTube numbers. The link to their YouTube channel is in the description of the video. You will have a good time. Every time I tune into them, I have a good time. You will too. Go hit that subscribe button. Help them get to the magic numbers because they need to praise the cash.
Absolutely.
Right? Jamie needs
Make it rain money on us. Yes.
Jamie needs new crystals.
I need more crystals.
And I'm not sure what Bree needs.
More crystals as well.
More liquor.
Yes, that too.
All right, I'm going to throw you guys out of here and do a wrap up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure hosting you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody will go and support you.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks.
Throw you all out of here. Boy, what a fun time this was. An unexpectedly great fun time. I love it when the shows are effortless like this. We're just going to do a quick thing here and check in with this PayPal and call out anybody that has made a PayPal donation. I think we've called out all the Super Chat donations, so that's the last bit of business here to do. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Kind and generous $5 donation from Alan in England. I think that was England. Let me check to make sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, in London, in Canada. So Alan in Canada with a kind and generous $5. We've got BENGT. Ben is the name. And the note that he added with a kind and generous $5.28 PayPal donation says, "Rip the lid off the scammers' barrows." We will continue to do that. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support. And thank you as well, Alan. And then another one. Okay, call out name is actually Bex. So I got that wrong. I apologize. With another kind and generous $5 PayPal donation, reminding me that his that his chat room user ID is Bex. Bex, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. And we have Andrew with a kind and generous 10 Great Britain pounds who says, "Great work, Stephen. Get yourself some extra eggnog this Christmas. Praise the cash." And that's from Moody Mongol. Thank you, Moody Mongol, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. We appreciate everybody's kindness, generosity, and support. I'm just going to go over real quick and make sure that we did indeed call out all of the super chats. Just so you know, we're a viewer-supported show. We call out every single super chat. And we thank everyone who supports the show through super chats, PayPal donation, or becoming a Patreon supporter. Finally, we have Jean-Paul Farte with a kind and generous $5 super sticker. The rest, I believe, that we read out, but we're going to read them again anyway, just to make sure. Lee Guy with a kind and generous $4.99 super chat saying, "I'm going to start an OnlyFans because it's just going to be Steven's laugh." Patrick Sheehan with a kind and generous $9.99, a little help to cover the F-bombs. Thank you for your kindness and helping us cover that. I lost 27 cents because of Jamie, but it's okay because I'm $10 up on the world. Thanks to the kindness, the generosity, and the support of Patrick Sheehan. We have Dorothy Hawkins with a kind and generous $5 super chat. And Dorothy says she asked a question that Jamie answered, to what extent that spiritual experiences be considered contact experiences. We covered that tonight. Lee Guy with a kind and generous $4.99 saying, "When I was a kid, I was told I was a devil worshiper playing Pokemon. That is terrible." Jean-Paul Farte again with a kind and generous $20 super chat. Big donator tonight saying, "Hey, Stephen Cambian, keep up the great work you're doing. Hey, Brianna and Jamie, I enjoy your channel. Lots of fun." And again, I'll give one final pitch. The link to their channel is in the description box. Go over there, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for them. And if you haven't for us already, I can remind you that there's 2 ways to support the show. The first way we've talked about, you can throw a couple of bucks in the hat. Brother, can you spare $1? But I want to remind everybody, the Patreon, we have some extra content and extra benefits, but I don't want to withhold things from people that are big supporters of the show for lack of $1 or more. So if you're having a tough time, just send me an email at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Mention you're a supporter of the show. You're having a tough time. Don't give me any specifics. It's none of my business. Just say, hey, I'd like the Patreon benefits. And I put all those people on a list, and I send the Patreon links out manually to those people who are experiencing financial difficulties. It's a tough time for everybody right now. And I would much prefer a big supporter of the show just get that extra content. So if you can spare $1, join our Patreon. You'll be glad you did. We do Patreon-only streams, extra content. But if you're having a tough time, no problem. Just email me, and we'll put you on our special list of supporters. And finally, the other way to help us, and this really does help just as much as a couple of bucks, the other way to help us is to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Send these videos to some friends. Put them on your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter. Share these videos far and wide, and that helps us to get a bigger bullhorn. It helps get the word out. It helps new people find us. And we would sincerely appreciate your help. So lacking a couple of bucks to help us out, clicking a share button, copying a link and posting it costs you nothing but a few moments of your time. And it really does help just as much. Finally, I want to remind everybody that's listening in audio podcast land. If you're listening in audio podcast land, you're listening to a repeat. And we would like to welcome you to come here to our live and interactive tapings where we record the show and interact with our live audience. You are most welcome here. Just go on over to YouTube, look for and put Truthseekers, one word, in the search bar. Look for me, Steve Cambian, the strange guy with the sunglasses, your host. Smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and the next time we do a live show, you'll be able to come here and interact with us in the live chat with we have a great live chat here. You can ask questions of the guests or me, offer comments, commentary. We support that live interaction. It's a big part of the show. So if you're listening in audio podcast land, please come over here to YouTube. Look up Truthseekers, hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell. We want you here in our live chat. We want you to be a part of the show. So I'll take just a few moments for comments and questions from the live chat. Then we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank our guests tonight, Jamie and Brianna, from that one time I was abducted by aliens. What a fun talk we had tonight. Go over there and subscribe to their channel. I would appreciate that. In fact, you know what I just realized? I have to practice what I preach. I don't believe that I am a subscriber. To be very honest with you, I am very, I was at one time subscribed to way too many channels and I cut it all back. But here is what I'm going to do. I'm going over there right now. 1 second. I'm not subscribed. So, I apologize for that. 1 second. Let's go check out their channel. They've got it. I know they have an excellent interview with Grant Cameron because I watched that one and a few others. It's right at the top here, an interview with Grant Cameron. This is one of the interviews that I was interested in hearing. Grant Cameron's one of those personalities that I'll listen to any interview he does with anybody because I always enjoy Grant Cameron's views on things. So here's the subscribe button for them. I'm going to subscribe. And it says subscription added. So that is a good thing. And they're up to 402 subscribers. So it looks like we did give them a pretty good bump. I think it was at 370 or 380 earlier. Thank you all for helping them and helping them to grow and to help us to help them grow their channel. I'm a big supporter in paying it forward. And there was just a few shows, just a few, when I started this show that actually helped me a great deal to get a bump, to get some extra subscribers so I could get to the magic numbers. So I feel like it's my karmic duty and responsibility to help other good content creators get to those magic numbers. You'd be doing me a favor if you go over there and help them out. We're all in this together, so maybe we're all helping each other, and that's a good thing. Oh, it's Lee Guy's birthday. I did not know that. Happy birthday, Lee Guy. I'm just being informed of this, or I would have told you happy birthday before, right? Great. And Dorothy Hawkins said, subscribing to their channel. It took me about 10 seconds just now. Thanks for the link. Yeah, the link is in the description of the video. Give them a bump, guys. They deserve it. I always have a good time when I tune into their show, and I know you will as well. Randall Hill says, happy birthday, Lee Guy Bacon. Lee Guy's the bacon guy. If you see bacon in the live chat, it is Lee Guy, right? Bex says, happy birthday anyway, and thank you, Bex, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, and the PayPal donation. Much, much appreciated. I am blown away by everybody's generosity and support of the show. Sometimes it's funny, like I go, I could look and see like, oh, there wasn't too many super chats tonight. But then I looked on the PayPal and there was like 5 of them. So blown away by the generosity and support. It warms my heart and to know that all around the world, people are throwing a couple of bucks in my hat. It reminds me of street busking. For those that don't know, the street busker will stand there and do whatever he does, play the piano, play harmonica, sing, tell jokes, do magic tricks, I don't know, any talent, play the guitar, and people will walk by and throw a couple of bucks in our hat. What we do here is just a more technically advanced version of street busking. If you like what we do here, throw a couple bucks in the hat. If you're here for the live chats, you can send a super chat. We read every one of them. If you're here listening to a replay, you can still donate to the show through PayPal. Just be sure to add your chat room user ID. Add a note, add your chat room user ID, and any message you want us to shout out. The PayPal donate button links are in the description, instructions on how to do that. And these guys are saying thank you all so much. No, my pleasure. Glad. Looks like we're getting you a decent bump there, Jamie and Brianna. So I'm glad that we could do that and help you move your channel forward. All right. Jill Tate is in the audience, says, I just subscribed and belled their show. Good for you, Jill Tate, and good for them. I'm happy to see so many people going over there to support them, right? It's a good thing. You know, it's a very difficult thing trying to get to those magic numbers. And anybody I can help to do that, that's a decent person and is producing good content, I am more than happy to do, right? Andrew Whitley says, when are you going to do a music review for your subscribers' songs they made? Email me them at truthseekershow@gmail.com. I could use more music. So it is what it is. Okay, Jamie and Brianna says, Camby and you are a peach. Thank you. It was my pleasure hosting you guys tonight. You guys are always welcome back. Oh, they're at 407 now when we've still got, let's see, 65 people watching us, or 60 watching us. So a few more of you should go over there and help them out. I would appreciate it, right? And Walt Corbin says, great show, Brianna and Jamie. Yeah, I very much had fun. Dorothy Hawkins says, everything's coming up bacon for Lee Guy and you. Big fan of the bacon. Well, like I said, yeah, and welcome to the show is here. Sharing a link to their YouTube address. And that is very helpful. Thank you. Welcome to the show. So, boy, it's been a long day for me here. And unfortunately, I'm starting to feel under the weather. I'm starting to feel like I got a throat thing going on. And I just got over a cold and a throat thing. So I'm going to go and try to rest my throat. We have a full week of shows. Tomorrow, we've got John Warner. It's not often you get to interview an actual member of the Illuminati. No, I bust his balls. But he is from one of the richest, wealthiest families in the world. And he has a keen interest in all things esoteric and strange, including UFOs and aliens. So we're going to be interviewing him tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we've got an EVP investigation on Wednesday night, which should be interesting. It'll be the second time that we have done a show looking into EVPs, right? And which is electronic voice phenomenon. For those that don't know, this is the phenomenon where people believe that they have recorded voices of ghosts and other worldly creatures, maybe demons, maybe angels. I've heard some people claim that some of the EVPs were angels, some of them were demons, jinn and other spirits, and deceased human spirits. So we're going to have Gary Arnold on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to tune in for that one. And we're still working the rest of the week out, but I promise you we're going to have a bang-up full week this week. I've got a lot of things on my to-do list and shows to get finished. We're diligently working on that stuff. Comp Lizard is asking, Stephen, will you have a show with Dark Journalist soon? Comp Lizard, I asked him for an interview some time ago, but I understand you always have to remember that when somebody does their own show, they're so busy with their show that it's hard for them to get a couple of hours to do a guest spot or an hour even. But I'm going to reach out to him because Comp Lizard, you and about 10 other people have asked me to interview him, and I would certainly enjoy that. So we're going to see if we can't make that happen for you, the audience, the listeners. We always try to please the audience. If that's something the audience wants, I will. All I can do is ask. Comp Lizard, I'd be all for that, though. Yeah, Randall Hill says, electronic voice phenomenon, don't be messing with those spirit boxes, man, divination. Yeah, some of those spirit boxes seem a little suspect to me. Because I don't know on what theory they work, right? They seem a little nutty. Will there be an annual award show? Who is the biggest douche in the universe? Yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Stephen Broody. Yeah, glad that we could do. Glitch says we'll harass him for you. No, please don't do that. That's the last thing I want anybody to do is harass Dark Journalists, right? But we do have Kate Schneider in our live chat a lot, and that's his girlfriend that he lives with. So I joked with her. Can you get him to, I don't know. I'm going to ask him and her and see what has. Walt Corbin says, great show. I'm off to goof on. Yeah, I'm wrapping things up here, Walt Corbin, and good to see you. And say hello to Rich from Goof On when you get over to the live chat. Maybe I'll stop on in there. I would like that. I haven't checked in with him for a while. And I like to try to keep up. So maybe I'll drop on over there in a little bit. I want to thank once again our guests tonight, Jamie and Brianna from That One Time I Was Abducted by Aliens podcast and video show now. Again, the link's in the description of this video or this audio podcast. Please go over there, help those girls out. They're really trying to do some cool and interesting work. And they're just fun people to be around, right? It's kind of like they have a good time doing what they're doing. And it's easy to lose sight of that, right? This gets to be a bit of a grind sometimes, and you forget that this is supposed to be fun. I want to thank them for reminding me that this is supposed to be fun. And you always hear me say this. I'm always happy when there's an audience. I can't thank you enough for being here today, spending some quality time with me and my guests, and being a part of my audience. We had great numbers tonight. So I want to thank you for being in the audience. No place that I would rather be than right here with you. But our time, sadly, has run out for today. I will be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with you all. Can't wait for tomorrow's interview. So until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
His cash price